Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. Hold on, I'll just get myself set up. I've jumped on here live. Sunday, Reflection Day. And God, have I got some stuff to reflect on after the week I've had and the weekend I've had. I must admit, I feel much, much better in terms of my mental state, just on the fact of, where I've been, what I've been through. And today for me is going to be really, really important, actually, because I've been mulling some stuff over, I've been thinking about some things, and, if you've been listening along the podcast, you've probably heard that it's not been the best of weeks. I've been away for the week, and do you know what? It just absolutely smashed me in the face at the weekend. And Friday was absolutely appalling. Saturday was even worse. I mean, how I got through Saturday, I have literally no idea. Friday was one of those days where, I was very, very, very low in my mood, in just general, and even Saturday, it transitioned into Saturday. Saturday was bloody awful, to the point where I got to 1 o'clock and my wife and children went round to a barbecue. I didn't go because I was exhausted. And I slept from 2 o'clock until 7:30. And if anyone's ever listened to those previous podcasts where I've talked about how sleep is important, what I do also talk about is how sleep is not just only important, but the routine of sleep is really important. But I was so emotionally exhausted. I was absolutely drained on Saturday. And I think it's a mixture of being taken out of my comfort zone last week, going to London for a week, being in an unfamiliar bed, so i.e. staying in a hotel, dealing with a big workload, and just dealing with people in general. As I've spoke about, I do get a little bit sort of kind of anxiety, a little bit, overwhelms my senses, quite a bit when I deal with big crowds. And if anyone's ever been to London, it's pretty much a big crowd. I had an absolute traumatic experience over the weekend. For the first time in 6 months, I almost got to the point where I didn't want to be here, and I haven't been that place for a long time. And today, like I said, I managed to sleep yesterday, and I managed to get another 4 or 5 hours in the normal evenings, because I was out of sync a little bit, which you can expect when you sleep for that length of time during the day. And but today's Father's Day, so firstly, let me say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It's perked me up, actually, and I think it was because, for me, it kind of gave me the ability to enjoy the company of my family. I took a step back, which was quite nice. My dad came over. He stopped by just to, I assume it fitted in with his agenda for the day. But he stopped in. I was going to go over to his, but he said he'd stop in quickly. So I gave him his gift, gave him his present, and I managed to catch up with him, which was, I think I felt happy because I was able to show him my, the fruits of my labour in terms of my garden. And just got to catch up with him, got to see his face, and I haven't seen him for a while. And you go from sort of seeing him most days, seeing the ones that sort of perk you up most days. It's really important to keep hold of that. He came round, and I had an absolutely fantastic morning. So, and then that coupled with, just a relaxing day, motorsport day. So it's Formula One tonight as well, so I watched MotoGP. So I've done all the things that I really enjoyed today. And it's kind of spurred me on to, do you know what? It's almost like, hold on, just to volume the music a little bit there, a little bit distracting for me. But I don't know, it's kind of like I did the things that I enjoyed, and which is absolutely fantastic, fan-dabby-dozy, as they say. But it was also just recognising that I was in a tough place, but perking myself up at the same time, doing the things that I enjoy, which is motorsport, relaxing. Being Father's Day, it was nice to be the centre of attention, especially my children. It's not often that they engage with me, my daughters. So it was really refreshing to have them sort of say, Happy Father's Day. And it comes with, if you've got daughters, you'll probably know it comes with cuddles and love, which is absolutely fantastic. So, for me, it's perked me up. Oh, hi, Nelly. How's it going, mate? Jumped on live. How's it going? So I should have messaged you, actually. Sorry, mate. You just jumped on and I've gone, oh, Christ, I didn't message you. But yeah, so I think being the fact that it's Father's Day, and, got to see my dad, it just perked me up just enough to give me a little bit of va-va-voom, but a bit of je ne sais quoi. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. So yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, I've got one of my absolute amazing friends just joining me there, Nelly. And, he's been one of the rocks over the weekend when I've been absolutely distressed is the best way to describe it, if I'm honest. We were chatting at 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday. I'd gone through that real arduous time, but it's amazing how it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde, like I was just saying a minute ago, like Jekyll and Hyde. It's almost like 1 minute I can be fucking happy as Larry, booming away. And then the next minute, excuse me, actually, I'll just take my jumper off because it's warmer out here than it is in the house. 2 seconds as we go live. This is live and unedited, raw. That's how I like it. So it kind of smashed me in the face. I didn't know how to deal with it. I'll be brutally honest. I did not know how to deal with it, and I was open and honest with my friends. I told them how it was. Like I said, when you're driving at 140 mile an hour on a motorbike on the other side of the road, it's a quick decision. Do you know what I mean? It's a quick decision, and it's not very good. I can talk about it, but the reason I'm talking about it is I'm trying to nurture the fact that we have to be open and honest about the challenges we face in life. And, and I was open and honest with my friends, and they absolutely stepped up to the mark. I have, like I said, I haven't been the best of friends at the moment, but, I'm getting there. I really am trying. I'm fighting this. I didn't know where to start is the brutal point of it. I didn't know where to start. I did a podcast on Friday. It was a bit fast and loose. But I had to do it because I know that that's what I enjoy. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy that kind of element. I enjoy the platform, if you like. So I did. It didn't work. And Saturday was fucking just as traumatic. I mean, if I could explain to you in quick terms about Saturday. So Saturday I woke up. I went out to the shops. My wife was going to a barbecue with her brother-in-law for his 40th. She said, "Do you want to come along?" And I was like, "No, not really my scene." And went to Asda to get myself some food and stuff. So we had a couple of hours with each other. And she came back and she went round there early. Now, I took that as, I don't know, it broke me. I'll be honest with you. It broke me that she left early because I kind of went, well, why is she not here for me? Does she not see this distress? Does she not see that I'm not in a good place? Now, we have had a discussion about that this morning, and actually she said, I wanted to stay out of your way because I know you like a bit of private time. And it is like that. I do like to block myself away. But at the same time, when I block myself away, I almost want people to kick the fucking door down for me and go like, "Yeah, I'm in here," and that's what the back of my head says, but it's not what the front of my face says. So I went through a pretty traumatic hour when she'd left of, splitting up, leaving her, leaving my life. I left the family group on WhatsApp. I just had it fucking consumed me. I mean, I was in an horrendous place. So much so that about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I thought I'd just listen to a bit of music. A song came on, broke into fucking tears, and went, "I'm not doing this." That's literally when I knew I'd reached my peak of the weekend. Was when the emotional aspect took over, and I went, "I'm not fucking doing this now. I'm not even going to bother trying to fight this." So I went up to bed, and this was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just fucking went to sleep. I just thought, if I go to sleep, I can shut away the demons, this really fucking horrible place. And I did. I went to sleep till 7:30, and then I woke up hungry because I'd not eaten all day. So all of these things that I talk about in podcasts, where I'm like, eat healthy, plenty of exercise, engage with your friends, reflection time, meditation. I done fucking none of it. I literally just chinned it off. I went, fuck it all. So all of the coping mechanisms that I've nurtured went out the window. I mean, I packaged them up. I fucking threw them out there and said, go and pick that up, throw it into the sea, go and get that Jacques Cousteau. And I woke up about 8 o'clock, came down, watched a movie with my missus, and then I said, right, it's time to go to bed. We finished watching about midnight. And, I woke up this morning, and I think because I felt, I woke up to some really important messages from my very good friends saying Happy Father's Day, and that just really perked me up a little bit. And I think because the day I was relaxed. I was told not to worry about it. My wife was like, my wife made these amazing sausage and egg McMuffins. Hi Dre, how's it going? My wife made these amazing sausage and egg McMuffins. Hi, welcome. And mimicked the McDonald's muffin, but made with plant-based products. And do you know what? I think because it was about me, in a sense, it was Father's Day, and my dad had come round, and I felt, I showed him around my garden, and all this sort of stuff. And, from my perspective, I enjoyed it. I just kind of went, this is, where I want to be. This is kind of, yeah, you can, mate, just in a minute, mate, just having a little chit chat, mate, more than happy. So that was kind of where I was at, really. I kind of, perked me up a little bit. I had a little bit of motorsport, so I was doing all the things I enjoyed. And that's when I thought, right, okay, now's the time. I poured myself a glass of gin, slightly weak one, just to try and sort of kind of, not for the alcohol content, more for the relaxing nature. And I just jumped on, really, and away we went. So it kind of spurred me on to jump on and really give that sort of that view, that perspective of me trying to feel a little bit better about myself. But what I got out of it really was the fact that, do you know what? And this is the positive out of the negative of the weekend for me. And it's not just weekends at the moment. This has been endured for the week, really. And this is where the reflection aspect is really, really paramount. But what I got out of it was, the positive out of it was that everybody that is around me supported me. And that is the most important thing. I've got the most amazing friends. And one friend sent me a keyring through the post, which was absolutely amazing. It was a small sentiment to everyone else, but to me, a massive, massive sentiment. I really enjoyed that aspect. And then, I was getting random text messages throughout the day saying, how are you, etc., etc. And just the engagement really just made it a warm feeling to know that that's the reason why we have very good friends. If I'd have been in any other situation where I hadn't have had the right people around me, I think absolutely I would not probably be talking to you right now. That is the level of sadness. I say sadness, the level I'd got to over the weekend and over the week. So that was the important aspect of me. And when you're riding along on a motorbike on the wrong side of the road at that speed, you don't really tend to think about those things. But they did. They pulled me back in, and then I got straight home, gave the keys to my wife and said, take them off me. I can't fucking control this right now. I'm in a really horrible place. And the most important factor of that was having the right people around me, and that is what I was blessed with. Out of all of that, that is what I was blessed with. I was blessed with having people to talk to, people that cared for me, and people that I cared for as well, which was the nice bit. And that is this kind of reflection aspect, really, that I was trying to sort of resolve in today, really, was just kind of go, I mean, I've got a lot out of this week, so I haven't been away from my house for a long time, not for the length of like a week. And I think really that what I took out of that was I was a bit over the top anxious last week, as you probably heard from the podcast and the way I dealt with things. I was very emotional driven, and I didn't realise until reflection time this morning when I was pottering around in my garden, and after I spoke to my dad and everything else, I kind of like went, okay, Dad's over, we had a bit of a chat, and I'd sort of kind of nurtured a few things, and I've got a couple of events coming up, or a couple of free weekends, so I'm trying to lock some stuff in with getting back to sort of having a good time with my friends. But what I took out of that was actually, and this is how important reflection is, I really, really can't emphasize this enough, you have to evaluate your week properly. And I think that for me, I've been doing this like every week. So this is the first time that I've got to the lowest of my lows in a long time. But the reflection aspect of this morning was how I was able to look at my week and look at how it had gone. So I was a little bit off the edge. I was a little bit edgy last week, in the podcast on my reflection. Last week's Reflection Sunday was kind of, when you look at the fact that I'd done 3 hours of live podcasts on a Sunday, that was out of the norm for me. So I knew that I had a heightened anxiety because it was probably the fact that I was going away. And then I had a week of almost loneliness, no real, and I don't mean lonely as in the fact that I did have interactions with my friends, but not going to bed with somebody and, actually having cuddles and releasing those endorphins from the cuddles and everything else that I get. And just the joviality of being around your family. And as much as family is fucking irritating sometimes, they are an important factor to you. And I sort of pulled myself back. And then towards the end of the week, I was physically exhausted. And I knew that. Friday, I was drained. I'm still tired now, if I'm brutally honest. But what I've done is done what I do every Sunday, is I just step back, I watch a bit of sports, I take my time, I just think about the week effectively, as in I actually analyse the week. And, that is when I've actually able to process how and what had happened. And I think it was the anxiety of going to London, the anxiety of being around a lot of people. I'm not a massive people person. I like people, but at the same time, I like to be able to control the conversation. I like to be able to control the outcome. And I wasn't able to do that. And, that coupled with very, very hard work, long days and extreme heat, just absolutely crippled me. Friday, I was I spoke to my wife this morning, and we were reflecting together, actually, which is a new thing we've done, just to reflect on how I'd been. And that's me trying to get inclusivity with her, try and engage with her a bit more, so I can understand where I go wrong and what I do wrong. And we sat down, and she said, I could tell you were different. And she said, on Friday, I felt like you'd gone back 3 or 4 years. And I said that in the podcast the other day. She said you were on edge. No one wanted to be around you. You were just like a walking time bomb. And that became apparent when I absolutely offloaded my sort of kind of difficult aspect side of things with regards to our conversations. I was very, very dramatic, very quick to respond. It was almost like a nasty element, Oh, hi, Moran. Yeah, hi, Dre. I'm 40, mate. I'm 40. Unfortunately for my sins. So I was able to, unpick the week with her, and it's important, I think, because I want to understand where I go wrong. And nice. Thank you, mate. I want to understand where I go wrong, and unfortunately for me, you can't do that alone. You can't. Thanks for following me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. You can't really unpick things on your own. You can, and I've been doing that for the last 6 months. I've been unpicking my week, and I've been doing this for Reflection Sunday. I do it every Sunday. It's a religious thing for me now. It's become practice to be able to understand my week, and like I said, I was able to get down to the nitty gritty, as they say, get down to the detail of where I'd gone wrong. And that's where I established the anxiety had built up, and I'd had a long week, tiring week. And when you deal with health and safety, it's very, very, you don't really get any respite. I was dealing with meetings as well as dealing with the problems that I'd found. So my brain was on fire all the time. It was just constantly going. And when I came back and I kind of went, okay, I can let go of work. I'm not going to log in. I then took all of that emotional exhaustion out on my family. And that was where I was like, I don't want to fucking be here. Nobody's, and I kind of went into that self-destruction mode. And that was the hard bit for me. And then yesterday I had to just sleep. I just knew I needed to sleep. It was kind of, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's the dulcet tones. That's how I speak, the dulcet tones. So I was able to unpick things and I wanted to incorporate, this is the first week I've done this. This is a new thing for me. I was able to sit down with my wife and I just went, can we just have a chat? I want to talk about where I'd gone wrong. I wanted to apologize for how I'd been. And she went, I could see it happening, James. I can see that this is what you've done. You're not a people person. You didn't, she said, when you turned around and said you weren't going over to see, your best mate Kieran on Friday, and she said, that is so unusual for you to do that, she said she knew something was wrong then. And she said, I don't know how to, she said openly, I don't know how to control you when you get to that point, because you just shut down and you just go into self-destruct mode and you just go, fuck everybody else. Sorry, Nelly, let me read. I always avoid that, as then I always hear shit I don't want to. Exactly that, mate. And that's the problem, and that's what I did. I just shut myself down. Exactly that. I just went, I don't want to fucking deal with this. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with the problem. But at the same time, that's what we try to avoid, isn't it? We try to avoid, we have to engage with these people, because sometimes those things we don't want to hear are the things that we should hear and have to hear. And for me personally, that I think is where I've gone wrong. See, a lot of the times I've done my reflection on a Sunday and I've gone, okay, that was a good week, or okay, that was a bad week. How's it gone bad? What can I do better? But this week I actually incorporated my wife and I said, look, where have I gone wrong? Because this is the first time in a long time where my mood actually impacted the whole house. I literally nobody wanted, fucking Saturday, it was like a ghost town. Even my dogs didn't sit with me. They were like, fuck you, mate. You're an angry bastard. So, but when you get like that, the level of loneliness is unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. I just didn't want to deal with it. I wanted people to just kick the door in and drag me to somewhere to go, we're having fucking fun. We're doing this. And it never happened. Not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that that's what my brain wanted. So I just shut down. And I slept. I just absolutely slept. To the point where at 1 o'clock in the morning, yesterday morning, so it was Sunday morning, I was playing the Xbox because I was just trying to keep my mind occupied. I couldn't sleep. And I was like, fucking go to sleep, James. Go to sleep. You need sleep. So I'd already unpicked these things. And then I sat down with my wife, like I said, and I said, where did I go wrong? She said, you were a ticking time bomb, James. You were literally, when you turned around and said that, you didn't give a fucking shit about me and you thought I was selfish because you were talking about, my wife was talking about her back problems and I was like, fuck you, your back problems don't equate to my back problems. That's the attitude I had. She said, I just wanted to leave you alone because I didn't want to be the target, so to speak. I didn't want to be the person that took the barrage unnecessarily. And I was like, you are right. That is you don't want to be around me when it's like that. I get that. So I unpicked that quite a bit today. And I went, right, okay, what did you do wrong? Well, you booked in too many visits to sites and stuff to do your job. So let's reduce that down so that you're not, number one, you're not away from home for too long. You need that comfort zone. You need that, everything around me is built in my house at the moment is built because in the sense that it's feng shui. It's very much like that. So when I go around, everything just is nice and perfect. So it doesn't wreak havoc with my brain. So, and I enjoy the process. I enjoy the process of watering my garden every day and tending to my plants and all that sort of stuff. It's very therapeutic for me with my headphones in and a gin. That's literally what I do. And to the point where, you know, my missus said to me, you drink a lot of gin. I'm like, I don't fucking care. It's not a massive amount. It's a couple of glasses a night. So fucking what? You know, but I do things to enjoy that. And this morning I actually went out for a jog, which was absolutely mental because I fucking hate jogging. But I was like, just go for a jog, just try and lose a bit of weight. So, you know, and that spurred me on to go, well, I don't need to go for a jog outside. You've got a gym membership. Go to the gym tomorrow. But the fact that I managed to get out and do it was really important to me. And it set my day up to the point where I'm actually a lot more positive now than what I was yesterday. A lot more positive. I'm still tired. I'm still exhausted. You know, you know, dealing with a few of the aspects of the week, because you don't often, you know, sort of kind of go to the point where, you know, you can't go to the point where you've been to that sort of that level, if you like. Sorry, Dre, I'm just talking away, mate. Sorry. You can't really go to that sort of kind of level and, you know, not be able to feel some sort of emotional backlog from that. You know, you can't really kind of go to that without getting some sort of knock-on effect. And he's keen, isn't he, mate? Sorry, Nelly. He's keen to jump in and chat. But I think he's the one that joined in the other day, actually, and tried to ask me for my account details. So, yeah, anyway. It's really, really important to be able to do those things. So, you know, you're not going to be able to get a knock-on effect without having, you know, something that goes along with it, you know. So there is going to be a natural fallout from that. And the natural fallout for me is, you know, sorry, everyone's just kind of banged out since he's joined the room. So it's a bit of an odd one. You're not going to be able to sort of understand that there's a fallout from that. And the fallout from that is the fact that I'm still emotionally scarred. You still, when you hurt people around you, and stuff like that, you're going to have a knock-on effect, and that's the bit I'm dealing with now. It's the after effect of the carnage that I've caused, and the carnage that you cause can ultimately, that's the bit that affects you the most, because that's the long-term aspect. When you talk to people negatively and you affect their day where they don't want to hang around with you, especially people that are quite close to you, you have to acknowledge that you can't just put a plaster on that. I said things that hurt over the weekend. So irrelevant to the fact that I was hurting inside, I've said things that ultimately have hurt my wife and family. So, you know, even if it isn't just physical words, it's my actions, it's my demeanour, it's the fact that you pace around the house, you know, the fact that when people ask you a simple question, you rip their heads off for it. So there's going to be the fallout. You can't just put a plaster on that and ignore it. What you have to do is you have to build those relationships back up. But we have to learn from our mistakes. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm learning from my mistakes. So I've understood that what I did last week was new for me. I thought I could go away for a week and just, you know, visit sites and stuff like that and crack on and do my job. But I can do that, but I have to do it in moderation. And I've done too much. I've almost ran before I can walk. So although mentally, in terms of my mental ability, it didn't impact me, I can function at that level. The fallout from functioning at that level is basically back to where I was when I used to work in my old job for Serco, where I would function at a high rate, but everybody would feel it when I was tired, exhausted, and emotionally damaged. So then you would lose relationships and friendships. And that's ultimately what I was doing at the weekend. I was systematically breaking down my friendships and breaking down my relationship. I was almost destroying it in the hope that people would just leave me alone so that I could go and be alone. And then if I'd have gone to the point where of no return, the excuse would have been no one was there for me. Well, they are there for you. You can't push that. You can push that by all means, but don't blame them for you pushing that. So I've learned so much today. It's unbelievable. I've learned that do things in moderation. get the right amount of sleep. Don't sleep in shitty hotels that are absolutely fucking god awful. And I've addressed that with my management team to say, look, I need to be able to stay in a Premier Inn. It's the closest thing to my fucking bed. So I need to make sure that I move around to get the right hotel if I'm going to stay. But I'm not going to stay away for 4 days. Because by the fourth day I was threaders. I really wanted to get home. If I'd have come home on done a site visit Monday, Tuesday and gone home Tuesday night, I'd have had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in this environment. I know for a fact I would have gone out at the weekend. I would have gone to see my friend on Friday. And I probably would have done something yesterday when everybody was out. I probably would have said, let's go to the beach and fucking met up with, say, Nelly or someone else. I would have done a bit more. In fact, I didn't. I just fucking literally wanted to fucking forget myself. I pushed myself to the brink of no return almost, and then systematically broke down fucking relationships and friendships, and that was all my doing. That was all me, and absolutely not going to ever do that again. So I've learned from that, and I've engaged with my wife to say, I am absolutely sorry. This is what's happened. This will never happen again. I am learning from this. Nelly, are you there, mate? Sorry, I don't know if you're there, mate, Nelly. Or you disappeared, buddy. Just seeing if my man Nelly's there. I was going to jump him on whilst I was chatting away. Do you want to jump on for a chat, or are you busy, mate? You can jump on for a chat, mate, if you want to join on in. Or are you happy just listening to me chunter away, mate? Let me know if you do, mate. You're more than welcome, or you're happy to me to just talk on, baby. What's he said there? I'm chilling at home, bruv. Nice one, mate. Well, just listen to me jib away then, mate. Thank you. So I've learned a lot from that, and I think that's the most important thing. If you're not learning and not moving forward, then, that's when we get problems with mental health. And even to the point where today I'm that invested in this, and one of my platforms I'm on, which is a platform called Spreaker, they've just said to me now that I've reached my love it, mate, your podcasts are cracking. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that, buddy. Always a supporter and always a lover. He's my good man. I love him. So, for me personally, the way that I've dealt with this was wrong. I know it's wrong. It was it was a historic way of dealing with me, and I'm supposed to be moving forward with this. And like I said, I'm that dedicated. I went to Spreaker. Spreaker have turned around and said that they wanted a new subscription. So I'm on Podbean anyway. So I was like, chin them off now. I'm just going with Podbean. And I actually created the Gentleman's Talk TikTok as well, just to try and promote this a little bit more, get a little bit more out there as well. So if I can just sort of kind of push it a little bit forward, because I really enjoy this journey. And I can't emphasize on how invaluable it is for me, even when I'm struggling. And even when I was struggling on Friday and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, midnight it was, and I did a podcast because I was like, this does normally make me happy. I pushed myself to do that and to keep myself focused. And here today, here I am now talking in a better mood, in a better place. Okay, it's not 100% done. I know it's not. I've got a lot of fallout from the way that I've dealt with my actions. But at the same time, I'm really, 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 and I can't say it enough, really, 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 really thankful that the people around me are so important. Even when I was sat there and I was contemplating shit, I had Nelly here, the one that's listening away to it, very, very close friend of mine, literally saying he was worried about me and to talk. So, and I was like, look, mate, just by you saying that you want to talk to me is invaluable to me. This midnight, I'm fucking tossing and turning. I'm in a fucking horrible place. My brain was all over. And it's weird because if you listen to me now talking, you wouldn't have thought that yesterday I didn't want to be here. Yesterday I had a friend of mine actually that was out of the blue contact me from an old RAF buddy, and he turned around. I know, and I love you too, buddy. I had an old RAF friend, and he said to me, "Oh, how you getting on?" I was like, "Yeah, not too bad, mate. I've moved on, and I've left my. I knew him when I used to work for the RAF, and I moved on. He knew I wasn't in a great place, and I said to him about it, and he said, "Oh, glad to hear you're successful." And I said, "Mate, it's really easy to be successful in work. It's successful in life that is the hard bit for me at the moment." And then I explained to him about how, I've had a rough ride and, and how I'm trying to deal with my own mental health. And he never replied. He actually never replied to me. He read it and never replied. Now, that says to me he's either scared and doesn't know how to reply to me, or he just wasn't interested. And I don't think he wasn't interested. I just think he probably thought, fuck, this guy's been open and honest. Because I wasn't in a message. I just told him exactly how it is, because I'm not one of these ones that will sit there and say it's all fucking roses, because it isn't roses. It's far from roses. You know, this is a battle. This is a journey that we go on. And I don't think he knew how to reply to that. And that's another reason why I'm really, really geared. And it made me even more ambitious in trying to make this work and trying to help people and just remove that stigma, because I think he just thought, I don't know how to reply to that. Well, how the fuck do you reply to somebody that says it's been a rough ride and goes in? I did go into a bit of detail, because at the end of the day, I prefer to be open and honest about my life than sit there and go, yeah, I'm fucking brilliant, mate. Look on my Facebook, I'm having a fucking blinding time. Well, no, because Facebook would never tell you that you're having a shit time. It's not like that. It's not what the platform's designed for, which is why I do the raw, unedited talking about me, because I don't read this from a script. This is just straight from my fucking brain. This is just what I'm enduring at the time. And what works for me may not work for someone else, but I'll be damned if it doesn't, because everything that I've done has worked. And from where I was 6 months ago, where I didn't want to be here, and I spoke about that, you know, and you've heard about that in podcasts, I was in a similar place. But the only thing that stopped me was myself, whereas this time round, the things that stopped me were the people around me. And that is the fucking most invaluable thing you'll ever have, is having people that love you and support you around you. Yes, I'm not going to be fucking happy every day. Yes, I'm going to be a little bit depressed. Yes, I'm going to be a bit sad. And I would expect my friends to be a bit like that as well. But to be a good friend, you need to pick them up. And that's exactly what fucking happened to me. I had the people sit there and go, fuck off, James. You're loved. Don't be a dickhead. You are loved. Ring me now. We're going to fucking talk. Or let's do this. We're going to meet up soon. And I'm still in a little bit of a horrible place, which is why I haven't spoken verbally to people, because I don't want to be that depressing person at the moment. So this is why I knew this podcast today, the Reflection podcast on Sunday, was invaluable to me, because it gives me the opportunity to get it out so I can start tomorrow with a fresh fucking head and start making the arrangements that have already been churning. So I've gone from the back of my brain being consumed by dark thoughts and, you know, negativity all around me, to this morning going, that's moved to the front and I'm processing it. And in the back now, I'm going, right, you've been a fucking dickhead here, mate. You've had a blip in your fucking mental health. You've had a bit of a rough fucking time. You know why now, because you've reflected and you've analysed your week, which is so important to do. Because if you have a bad week, you have to process the journey. You have to process it. Whenever you process it, I don't really advise you to process it on a monthly basis, because you'll not get a lot out of that, because you won't remember these things. I think personally, what works for me is a 7-day rotation. So for me, on a Sunday, it is a fucking beautiful day. You know, it's God's day for those people that follow the, you know, that side of life. And, you know, it's a day of rest. So it's a perfect day to sit there and reflect on your week. Have you had a good week? Yes. What did you do in that week that made it good? I don't know. This, and this. Right. So if that worked for you, let's do a bit more of that. Have you had a bad week? Yes, I've had a fucking bad week. What made you have a bad week? This, and this. Okay. Let's not do that again. Or if you have to do it, let's reduce it. So I know I have to go to site visits. I have to go to London. I have to endure that. But let's not go to fucking London and do a 3-night fucking hotel stay and absolutely max yourself out thinking it'll be fucking fun when you don't like, you know, people as such. And I don't mean that I don't like people, but for me, I'm very much, I like the right people around me. And when you're in a place like London, a big old city, you can't pick and choose. You're getting bumped, you're getting barged, you're getting fucking rammed. You know, it's hot, it's sweaty. The fucking trams are, you know, the London Underground's fully fucking, you know, absolutely jam-packed. You feel like a sardine. And just to give you a little insight into the week that I'd had, going on the London Underground. So you can imagine you're going from a train station, you're going walking around a load of stairs with your bag. I was on the Underground with my colleague. And it's a bit of a funny element to this story, actually. And I wish someone had fucking filmed it, because it would have gone on TikTok or something. It probably would have gone fucking viral. So I was on this fucking London Underground, and this is how fast-paced London is for me. And when you're used to the countryside, it's quite difficult to process. So for me, what happens is I don't deal very well with a lot of noise. That's the PTSD aspect. It's really hard for me to decipher, because because with an element of PTSD and ADHD, with ADHD, you have this thing where you take on loads of information. With PTSD, you struggle with noises. So they kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, really. You're taking on loads of information, but at the same time, all that information is overloading your brain and your senses. So I was on the London Underground, and just before, so we stood on this, we stood on the on the I can't remember what's it called. I can't remember what it's fucking called. The train. It's called a train, London Underground train. I thought there was a specific word, but I can't remember what it is for some reason. My brain's done a complete fart with it. And we stood there anyway, and we were going off to this one stop, and I don't know the Underground very well. I know it a little bit better now because I've used it all week, but I don't know it, as in, it's not something I travel on all the time. So we were stood there waiting for the doors to close to go to our one stop, and then all of a sudden, the tannoy comes on with what can only be described as the worst fucking sound system I've ever had in my life. It was absolutely awful. It was like chucking a speaker across the room so it's damaged, and then throwing it in water. And all I got from it was the speaker was a bit muffled, and I stood there, and obviously at this time I'm looking around, because what my brain tends to do is I tend to look at my surroundings, I look at colours, I look at noise, I look at people to try and decipher, is there any threats around me? Because that's how I feel. I feel very protective. And at the same time, I'm waiting for the train to move off, so I'm looking at where to grip. Then I'm also thinking, fucking hell, my hand's on this grip that probably about 90 million people have touched. It's never been cleaned. I've probably got snot on it or some shit like that. So this is the sort of stuff that's going through my brain. It's fucking consuming me. And then my mate says to me, oh, the next stop is closed. We'll go to the one after, which is going to take us way past where we need to go. So I looked at him and went, well, what does that mean? And he went, we need to get off. And he stepped off backwards. And as I was processing it, the door started fucking closing. And I went, fucking not today, mate. I burst fucking through the door just before, and it crimped me. I mean, bosh, either side of my shoulders. And I'm quite a burly, stocky bloke. I was like, I fucking squeezed through. Luckily, my bag was on the front of me, because otherwise that would have gone. That would have been me going down the fuck. I'd have had to let it go, mate. And it had everything in there, my laptop, the fucking lot. But it was on the front, because I was a little bit forethought. And my mate's in fucking hysterics, because this door just goes, beep, 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 completely stops, as if to say, and I looked at it and say, fucking, no, mate. Not with these fucking shoulders, sunshine. Doosh, have it back. I squeezed fucking through, but the pain was unbelievable. So you can just imagine. Sorry, I'm getting a bit wayward. I'm getting a bit excited, aren't I? But you can imagine the pain. So my senses are going like this, like fucking firing all over. And then he says we need to go to here. So I'm sweating. I don't know what's going on. And that was pretty much a 5-minute period of a whole day of going on the London Underground. So you can imagine, like, when you get back at night, and it just sort of kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into why I was so exhausted on fucking Friday. I mean, I haven't been like I was done a marathon all week. And when you're walking across London and you're doing 25, 30,000 fucking steps a day in the heat with shirt and trousers on, because that's your work fucking attire, it just absolutely consumes you. And, that takes a while to get over it. So what I've learned from this is don't do that. Absolutely do not do that. Slow yourself down a little bit. And, when you go to London as well, you notice the pace is a little bit slower. Whereas when you're in a country life, because life is a little bit slower, you can up your pace a little bit. So they don't balance out. So it takes you a little while. By the end of the week, I'd absolutely got to the point where I was fucking shoving people out of the way. I was like, fucking move. I'm going here. I'm filtering in. So I'd got to the point where I was used to that life, as in, that's the way to survive. But it's not a life for me. That was absolutely not a life for me. But very, very important. And this, like I said, brings me on to that Sunday period of reflecting. And I do it in 7-day increments because I think it works for me. It absolutely does. When I've had a good week, I look at why I've had a good week. What have I done that week? Who have I avoided that hasn't made me upset? And what has made me better? What has my eating habits been like? Has my eating habits been better? Okay, so all of these things fit in line. And when you actually sit down on a Sunday and reflect about the positives and negatives of the week, you can actually process very, very easily what works for you. What might work for you doesn't work for me, and vice versa. But you need to give yourself that time to think about these things. You need to give yourself the time to reflect on these things. Because if you don't, you're just going to bumble your way through life, and you're not really going to acknowledge the good and the negative, or the positive and the negative. And that's why sitting on a Sunday in a comfortable environment, which for me is my garden with my hoodie on and a gin, and I sit there and I go, okay, why didn't it work this week? So it's not, although it was very traumatic for me Friday and Saturday, very fucking traumatic. I can't express that. And that's not me looking for the violins. That's not me looking for sympathy. That was just where I put myself. And I don't ever want to go there again, because I was not the person I should be. Absolutely not the person I should be. Because I haven't been that person for a long. I've had the odd day here and there where I've been a bit sad. And you'll listen to them in the previous podcasts. You'll go, oh, he's not his normal self. So you get that. And mental health doesn't pick who you are. Mental health doesn't decide, oh, today I'm not going to pick on James. He looks like he's already a bit low and exhausted. That's when mental health's going to fucking absolutely bosh out a fucking giant big fucking ramrod and just stick it right up your fucking ricker. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to stick it up there and it's going to jiggle it around and it's going to fucking whop it out, mate. And that's when he's going to get you. So you're going to be low in mood. You're going to be low in energy. You're not going to be eating right. And then your mental health's going to strike. So you're going to make poor decisions. You're not going to be a very nice person to be around. So it doesn't happen when you're happy, does it? And nobody can say, oh yeah, all of a sudden I was happy and now all of a sudden I'm fucking sad, because that's not a fucking mental health. That means something's happened in your life that's made you a little bit sad. Like you've gone to the shops and you looked for, like earlier on we went for shops and, I wanted to get some digestive biscuits and they didn't have milk chocolate, only dark chocolate. And I was like, well, I'm very, very sad about that. I'm a little bit disheartened. But that's not depression. That's not what I felt the day before. The day before was, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be around anyone. I literally did not want to fight the fight anymore. I physically was exhausted. I just went, I don't know how long I can keep fighting for this. And I spent most of yesterday fucking crying because I just didn't want to. And when I say crying, I don't mean, sitting there going, oh, fucking boo-hoo, someone's died in Coronation Street or something like that. I actually was crying because part of my brain was saying to me, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to fight this fight. This is just too exhausting. And the reason I was crying was because the other part of my brain was going, fight the fight, mate. People love you. You're getting messages from these people. You've got family that's around you. It's Father's Day tomorrow, which should fucking smashing you in the face to let you know that you've got people that rely on you. So I was fighting an absolute, it was like World War fucking 3 in my brain yesterday. So the simple thing for me to do was go to sleep. Absolutely. I was like, I can't fight this. And that's what happens when you get a mental health problem. If you ever feel like you've ever endured mental health to the point where it's consumed you that much, you'll always find yourself going to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, you will make the wrong decision. I guarantee it. I've done that. I've done it at 2:00 in the morning. I've literally made the wrong decision. So you need to sleep to give yourself the ability to re-energize, refocus, and re-establish yourself properly. And that's what I did. And then today, okay, yeah, fucking great. I am exhausted. I'm still a bit bunged up. I'm still not quite there. My eyes are absolutely stinging, and it's not from the hay fever. It's from the 3 hours fucking sleep I had last night. But I feel positive because this morning I woke up with a cup of fucking tea and my homemade McDonald's Egg McMuffin, and it was absolutely fucking beautiful. I've got fillet steak for my dinner, which means, my wife said to me, what do you want for dinner? What's your favourite thing? And I was like, beer battered chips, mushy peas, and fucking fillet steak. She was like, and it is expensive. And she said to me, it's a bit pricey for us at the moment. So, but she said, I'll do that for you because I know you need this. And I know there's Ben out there going, you fucking pulled a fast one there. But no, I mean, it's what they all chipped in to say, well, we're going to make the thing that makes you happy. In fact, I think it's starting at 6 o'clock-ish, so I need to be prompt to get my filet steak. But it's about addressing that time. It's about looking after yourself. And I didn't do that. I didn't look after myself. But you'll never learn from the processes. You'll never learn to adapt unless you make those reflection times, unless you physically understand what is going on in your brain. If you sit and ignore those things, and, I've got Nelly on here that says he doesn't want to hear it. I'm exactly the same. I don't want to hear the bad shit about me. Nobody wants to hear the fucking bad shit. It's going to consume you, isn't it? It's going to make you feel fucking awful. But at the same time, by sitting down and going, I am sorry, and sorry doesn't work. I don't care what anyone says. I went out yesterday and I was like, I'm really sorry. My missus looked at me, and I know sorry doesn't work because, words are mightier than the sword for me. When I say something, it can be fucking painful. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm in that sort of mood like I was, and I've been in it years and years ago all the time, I can say the most cutting things. And I say it with such direct input and no emotion that it just almost looks like I'm dead inside and I'm just here to destroy you. That's the way that me and my wife sort of unpicked it earlier on. And I went, I know. And the thing is, I know that it's like that. However, I can't control it, or I can control it. But I've realized now that I need to make adjustments in the way I work. So my work-life balance for the last 6 months has been fantastic. It's only since I ramped up this week, which was all caused by me, by the way. I caused the ramp up to try and, get out there and make myself, really look at James, he's fucking on it. And in actual fact, my work-life balance completely went out the window. I exhausted myself, and I fucking went to the point where I nearly wasn't here. That is the be-all and end-all of it. That is it. The crux of it was caused by me. And the output. So now I have to rebuild my relationship again. It's not like I'm going to sit there and go to my wife, should we go upstairs and have sex? No, she's not going to want to touch me because she just, all she'll envision is my attitude. And it's really hard. And like she said to me earlier on, she said, you've made leaps and bounds. There is other elements to the reason why I've been a little bit down at the moment, when I'm making efforts to resolve that. And that is, I've reverted back to taking fucking Cocodamol for the pain, which is then, when I don't take it, it cripples me, it overworks my kidneys, and it makes my back worse. But it's the only way I can physically sleep. So I've kind of done all these shit things I shouldn't be doing, and I need to stop. So I am, and that is where today is about reflecting. And I'll do a bit more reflection tonight. I'm going to sit there. I'll have a beautiful tea with my beautiful family and celebrate Father's Day. And then I'll sit out with another gin this evening, and I'll sit under the cloudy stars, and I'll reflect a bit more. But I already know where I went wrong, and that is the important thing. It's understanding where you went wrong, and it's making sure that you don't do it again. Because if you keep doing those things that make things wrong, you're never learning from things, and the people around you will keep getting hurt. And they'll stick with you, and they'll stick with you until all of a sudden they go, I am fucking threaders with you, mate. I can't do it. I'd rather be on my own than deal with your shit. And that is the important thing about dealing. And when you're a man, you've got a strong personality. You've got a big voice, haven't you? You're a man, so you've got a lot of masculinity. Some of us don't, obviously, but there is some men out there like myself I'm quite robust. I'm quite I'm deep in my sort of my voice is deep. I'm quite a rotund guy, so I'm quite empowering. I've got massive hands, and Nelly will smile his arse off at that one, Wreck-It Ralph. So I can be quite overpowering. Do you know what I mean? So it's really important to acknowledge those things and get the things right. And when you make the mistakes and the way that I've rebuilt it with my wife today and my family was, I said to them, I'm sorry. And we spoke about it, and we addressed it, and we learned from it. And I made a conscious effort to address it to her where I'd gone wrong, rather than her telling me I told her. So she knew I knew. So if I do it again, then she's just like, mate, I'm not a fucking glutton for punishment here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, you've got to sort your shit out. We're not going back to where we were fucking 5 years ago, where you literally fucking, crippled me and crippled everything and, left the fucking house. We're not doing that again. So get your shit together. And I am. And that's where, tomorrow will be very much a nice, relaxing day. I'm not going to overpower myself, and I'll be finishing early work tomorrow because I've done a lot of work last week. So I'm just going, no, I'm going to get my work-life balance back in order again. So, and I think that's where reflection absolutely comes into play. And if you're not reflecting, you're not moving forward. And if you're not moving forward, you're staying stagnant. And we don't want to stay stagnant because, everything around us will keep moving forward. It really does. And you'll be left behind and you'll be sat there going, why is no one around me? Because we've all moved forward. But the biggest thing that, to leave on a good high here, the biggest thing I got out of this week and my reflection, and even when I felt the lowest of lows, the biggest thing I got out of this was the amazing friends I've got around me and the way that they interacted with me. The way that when I said sorry, they were like, don't apologize. This is not you. We know it's a blip, but we're here for you. I didn't actively do what I should have done, which was phone people. But I do find it hard to talk to people when I'm in that mode because I don't want to say the wrong thing. So, but knowing that they were there, knowing that I was receiving those text messages to say, I hope you're okay, that made me feel special. That made me feel happy because that is what matters. And, ultimately, that's what this journey is about. It's about building up the right network. I'm going to leave it there and jump on in and help my wife with Father's Day with Father's Day to get my filet steak just perfect, medium to rare for me. But I look forward to talking to you again all soon. Big love, bro. Thank you very much, Nelly, mate. And big love to you. And I really appreciate the support, mate. I really, really do. And you listening to my whole hour of jibbing away there, I really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. You'll have to let me know when you're free this week, mate, because I want to do a live with you again, get you on board and get everyone listening to your side of things. And it'd be really interesting to talk about your week last week. So if you're free, mate, please message me and we'll schedule in a little live call between us all, mate. Thank you though, buddy, and really appreciate it. I look forward to